ticking all available ballot papers in favor of General Museveni. Many places were not able to vote in northern and western Uganda. At many polling stations, the voters reached but were told that the election was not taking place. Some were told that they could only vote for their members of parliament and go back home. They could not vote for the president. So in the face of all those irregularities, I am proud that you Ugandans asserted your voices very solidly. And therefore, I am confident to inform you, ladies and gentlemen, that we won this election. Of course, as you know, General Museveni, using the military, police, and all other institutions of state, rigged this election, albeit brainlessly, but they rigged it. We are all aware that the Electoral Commission announced the results before even actually counting. That explains why they every now and then put up contradicting declaration forms, trying to justify their rigging. So I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for turning up and voting, and most importantly, voting for change. I want to thank you for supporting us during the election, but most importantly, supporting us after that election. You are all aware that General Museveni started arresting our people, torturing them so bad. Many have shown up dead, while others are still in hospital, nursing wounds of torture. You, ladies and gentlemen, especially you friends in the diaspora, the US chapter, the European chapter, the friends of Uganda across the world, you have supported us. You have treated the victims of torture. You have treated those that are with grave injuries. And indeed, those that have died, you've supported us. For example, just the day before yesterday, we were laying our comrade Fabian in Arua. You supported the funeral, you supported the transportation of the body. We salute you, ladies and gentlemen. We continue to be motivated by your kindness, and we can only say we won't give up, simply because we know that you are there. We also thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for supporting those comrades that are in incarceration. You've constantly supported those in Chitalia, those in different prisons across the country, with meals, with bail money, with legal assistance, and all the assistance that you've extended to their families, the welfare of their families. Hundreds of our comrades are in prison, but their families don't lack. Not because of we, the leaders, but because of you, Ugandans, that dig deep in your pockets to ensure that these comrades are constantly reminded that they are not alone. Thank you very much. I cannot thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen, but I'll only say that God should bless you abundantly, and we can only pledge not to give up. I want to update you about the state of affairs in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, after the election, knowing the kind of crime that he had committed, knowing the kind of fraud that they've just gotten involved in, General Museveni and Sonia Zifola Busungu, he started rounding up all our people. Abductions increased. Many people have been abducted. Some have shown up dead, like in Mukono and in northern Uganda, while others have shown up with grave injuries. A young man called Segawa Ronald, who many of you saw in a video, he was paid to paint himself yellow and move on skates to pretend he supported Museveni. As you know, Museveni has always been renting support. This young man was captured on camera telling the people of Uganda that he is there to make money, but his heart was for change. Segawa was abducted, beaten so bad. 3 of his fingers were cut off. His teeth were removed. He was tortured and dumped for dead. Good Samaritans picked him up, took him to hospital. Like many others, he is still recovering, but he's strong. Not only that, I can only give you a few examples, ladies and gentlemen, but the abductions have increased. More than 600 people have gone missing. Just today, a young man from Nachifuma, famously known as Germany, was abducted. Nobody knows where he is. And a few of those that have showed up, you've seen they've come out bearing marks of torture. Many have been murdered, like I've said. The females that have been lucky to resurface have reported being raped in detention by government security. Others have been tortured so bad that they even fear to speak. We have a newly elected mayor in Buwama. He has been missing for a month, but when he and his comrades showed up, they could not dare speak because their close associates tell us that they were gravely intimidated and promised to be murdered if they dared to speak out. However, it's at this note that I want to encourage all of you friends, speak out. Security yokka. Speaking out is the only security that you have. I always told you on the campaign trail, and I tell you now, that the camera is our biggest weapon. Dictators fear being exposed. So don't be intimidated. They released you because they could not hold you any longer, because there's so much pressure. So while we exert the pressure, once you happen to get your freedom, speak out. Your speaking out is going to be life-saving for the many people that are in incarceration. Let these murderers know that they cannot go scot-free. Let these murderers know that everybody that comes out will expose them. That is the only way we can stop this crime. We have all seen General Museveni telling lies. He came out and confessed that SFC, his personal army, his personal guards, are the ones that are holding our people, even though he cut down the number to 53. But he came out and said SFC is the one holding our people. Interestingly, when the spokesperson of SFC came out to speak to the nation, he denied holding those citizens of Uganda. But again, in the same communication, the spokesperson of SFC said they don't have to follow any law when they are abducting and kidnapping these our fellow Ugandans. So you can imagine the impunity. President avayo nagamba aba SFC bebakwata bana abantu era bebabatulugunya. Aba SFC ne bavayo ne beegaana, and then ne bamala ne bagamba tebalina kugoberera amateeka gonna nga bakwata abantu. So you can imagine the impunity that we are dealing with in Uganda today. Many attacks have continuously gone on. Just yesterday, our comrade Mobiru James was brutally arrested, and up to now, nobody knows where he is. That's where we are. And sadly, this is not only happening to those in the opposition, but even those that have supported the NRM for the longest time. I was watching TV, and I recall with misery a lady that has been a diehard of NRM and the Museveni supporter, crying, looking for her son. She cannot find her son because her son was abducted and he is missing, simply because the son is supporting change, simply because the son is supporting Chagulanyi. I have told you time and again, friends, that nobody is free. Where there's no rule of law, where there's impunity, nobody is safe, not even you that support General Museveni. For example, Mr. Tamani Mirundi is a renowned regime supporter, is a renowned Museveni supporter. Every time he shows up on TV or online, he is wearing yellow. He clearly supports Museveni regardless of the impunity that's ongoing. On Friday, the day I was supposed to communicate to you, I learned that his son, Tamale Mirundi Jr., was attacked and beaten very badly, losing teeth and having to go through an operation. I spoke to his mother and I spoke to his father just to communicate to them and express my concern with them. But this speaks to many of us. The only cases that we can update you about, the only cases that we can talk about are the popular cases, are the outstanding cases. But these are only an example of the grave human rights abuses that are ongoing in Uganda today. Imagine if the military attacks and tortures and brutalizes children of renowned NRM supporters. What do you think happens to the rest of the country? What do you think happens to the little-known young men and women in the ghetto? That is where we are. That is who Museveni really is. We sympathize with you, friends. Tubasasira, tuyimiridde namwe, naye era twagala mumanye mikwano gyaffe. Tibye twogerako bikutuuka ku buli muntu. Injustice to one is injustice to all. What affects one directly affects all indirectly. Ekyo kinyigiriza abantu abamu directly, kinyigiriza n'abalala indirectly. Ensonga lwaki namwe bannaffe abagamba nti muwagira Mwami Museveni tetumwalana ng'omuntu, naye twalana ebikolobero Museveni byakola. Museveni yavumiriranga Idi Amin. Now he's doing 10 times worse than Idi Amin. And that should speak to you. It should speak to all of us. We are fighting against injustice, against impunity, against lawlessness, against state-inspired violence against the human rights abuses, and nobody is safe until we are all safe. So it is sad, very sad to know. I mean, the other day I was in Chitalia visiting some of our comrades, but among them is a 21-year-old young man. His name is Mojuche, also known as Lukman. Lukman Kampala is our cameraman. He turned 21 years yesterday, but Lukman was arrested and now detained in Chitalia for simply associating with National Unity Platform, for simply being a member of People Power, for simply supporting Kyagulanyi and being a friend to Kyagulanyi. Lukman's father was among the soldiers that ushered in the NRM regime. Lukman fought Lukman's father fought to bring in Museveni into power. Tata wa Lukman, oboolyawo yali asuubira that the son will live in a better Uganda. These our parents struggled to make sure that children live in a better Uganda. But here we are watching Raphael Mojuche, a son to an NRA Bushiro, who is now in Chitalia, simply because he is exercising his democratic right. That is very sad. Many young men and women have been arrested, rounded up. We have had numerous stories. When I was in Chitalia, I was informed that up to 90% of the inmates in Chitalia government prison are brought in for being associated with NUP. Some of them were arrested on taxi parks. A taxi comes and the conductor is calling Kampala, Genderao, and they all get in. They drive up to CMI. Why? Because Museveni fears young people. Museveni knows that young people have been betrayed. He has, duped them, and he knows that they are not supporting him. And he fears them because he knows they will assert their right in one way or another. So he's rounding up Nalumanya, Nesalumanya. Many of them are charged for possession of military stores. Many of them have never seen a beret like the one, or never touched a beret like the one I'm wearing. But when they reach there, they are put in a room, made to wear a beret, a picture is taken, and they are detained in Chitalia. That is how sad it is, ladies and gentlemen. Many of our children, our little young brothers and sisters, who are supposed to be returning to school, are actually missing their senior 4 and senior 6 exams. Why? Because they are in prison. Why are they in prison? Simply because they want change, or simply because they are young people. And the old man that is ruling us on gunpoint is scared of young people. Many challenges, friends. We are aware that the economy is in shambles. We are aware of the rampant unemployment. So many businesses have crumbled. Many people have lost their jobs. Why? Because General Museveni wants to keep us in that position. Businesses have suffered, ladies and gentlemen. And yet, many parents like me here have to take back their children to school. But the same people that want to take back their children to school actually don't even have what to feed the children because of the conditions that have been created by General Museveni. COVID-19 itself is being used as a political tool, and as if that's not enough, General Museveni has imposed a political curfew. So many of our people survive on border business, but by 7, borders are not allowed to work. As a person that grew up in the ghetto, as a person that always worked at night, there's something called the night economy. The people that rule over us don't know that actually there are millions of people that survive in the night economy. Those who cook tea and food, those who work in entertainment places, those who work in taxi parks at night, those who work through the night, they cannot work anymore. These are people that are expected to survive. These are people that are supposed to pay school fees for children. But unfortunately, their lives were put to a halt. There's no justification. Museveni cannot explain the relationship between curfew and COVID-19, but they continue to impose a curfew on our people, even when it's not justified. Kinono kyabulabe nnyo mukwano gyange. Kyabulabe nnyo okulaba nti abatukulembera tebafaayo. Abannayuganda bangi nnyo ng'emirimu gyabwe gya kiro. nga bo basurvivingira ku night economy, ng'omuntu akozeeko mu ndongo, ng'omuntu akozeeko mu bulamu bw'ekiro, mu taxi ez'ekiro, mu mikolo egy'ekiro. Tumanyi nti bangi abafumba kyayi ku zipaaka, abavuga zibooda ekiro, abavuga taxi ekiro, ng'omu agivuga misana omulala agivuga kiro, booda omu agivuga misana omulala agivuga kiro, n'ebirala ebifaanana bwe bityo. Obulamu bwabwe bwakoma. Lwaki? Kuba Museveni yateekawo kafyu. Tasobola kunnyonnyola nti kafyu egasa bweti mu kulwanyisa obulwadde. During the day, the towns are packed, but at night, simply because he wants to subjugate the people and keep them under stiff control, he has imposed that curfew, and every now and then when he's scared of what will happen, he tightens the curfew. We criticize that in the hardest terms possible. But again,